Well, I am currently walking to find today's location of today's video. It's a bushcraft challenge done by my cameraman. Thanks, John. He's like a brother to me. All my guys that help me out are. We've dealt with each other's bullshit for years. So, just to give everyone a heads up, I am on state-owned property, so limitations are restricted. Obviously, if it was actual survival, you do what you got to do. But I will be following all the regulations of state-owned land. So, further ado, I gotta bumble around until I can find this location. Okay, so I was hoping that I would be recording at some point in time when I did find the location in which my buddy marked. There's the tape. I mean, Christ, John, you could have used a bigger piece of tape, and that thing looks like it's 20 years old. Going to go about how I was told today's challenge. Like I said previously, my camera guy, long-term friend, brother, decided, seeing how I put him through hell, he's gonna, I guess, try to put me through hell. So, real quick, today's video is based off of a challenge that he did, giving me the supplies that's in this bag. I stuck to the code, haven't looked in the bag. I was curious all the way out here what was in the bag. There's something in it. He did inform me that there is directions or instructions, not that I really need one on how to build a shelter, in the bag here. Okay. Piece of paper. It says bushcraft rules. Read so everyone can hear them. Remember, you're in a state forest, so no destruction of trees by any means necessary, whether cutting or gathering supplies from them. All supplies must be found on the ground or within the location of the area marked, which is that little piece of tape that you could have used something bigger. I supplied your gear for the video to build a shelter. Have fun. Love, John, your cameraman. P.S. Eat the orange I gave you. Okay, so I got an orange. There it is there. I guess that'll be lunch. I got a water bottle. Hopefully it's water. What the hell is this? Looks like plastic hosing to a fish tank. A flathead screwdriver. Measuring tape. That'll be important. Gotta have everything symmetrical. I have a solar light, which I hope I'm not building in the dark. What the hell? I'll bring it up so you guys can see it. 4 zip ties. One is about 7 inches, the other is about 5 inches, so I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with that. And I have two nails. Alright, I got 2 nails, so my framing better be on point. And that is everything in the bag, I think. Oh, he gave me a garbage bag. Perfect. Well, it ain't gonna rain. If it does, it's gonna snow. It's about 34 degrees right now. So, that's it. That is it. I would almost feel better not having anything. So I guess I have to implement this stuff in some way, shape, or form or another. I know immediately what to do with the orange. We'll bumble around and see what we can't see. I can tell you from here, walking in, and it's going to be no use to me. It's crazy. No matter where you go, there is garbage, unfortunately. Now, in this type of situation, another man's garbage is another man's treasure. But I'll show you here briefly when I was walking in, and it isn't actually too far. Just goes to show, no matter where you go. Now, I have no idea what this is. Plastic. It's actually a ball. I think it's a ball. I don't know if you guys can see that down on the ground there. Looks like maybe a silt fence. Looks like all the dirt. I bumble around and I try not to keep the camera rolling all the time. No one wants to really, I don't think, see me walking around for 30 minutes to gather some materials. So what I'll do is I'll cut some of it out, and then when I get to an area where I see I can gather some logs, I'll start recording again. So that way this isn't a 6-hour video. All right, let's get to it. Gathering material. Getting there though. Look on me. Alright, gather some more. There's all the logs that we gathered. There's the 2 pieces, well it's actually 3, but it's two main pieces. I cut it in half with my pocket knife. And right over there is where we're going to be building. I'm not going to sit here and talk the air off. There's a million different ways to build a shelter. So basically what I'm going to build is I'm going to put the structure. So I have 3 steps that I follow. Structure, comfort, and climate, and then for looks. So I'm going to put the main frame up, and then I'm going to put a backing on, and then I'm going to put sides. I'm roughly going to have like a 3-foot door. I like to see out. That way I don't feel cornered. Now you can put a door on it and put it down and do all of that. Like I say, there's 1,000 different ways. But we're going to get started with the main structure beam and then build off of that. And then I'll start taking these branches that we got. Unfortunately, it's going to take me a little bit. I have no tools except for a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to start taking the branches off and get them all nice and straight and lining them up. I'll fast forward through all this so you don't have to sit here and watch me for 20 minutes. Alright, so we got all the limbs of the branch, mostly. I mean, you don't really need to take every one of them off. When you get so many branches and they start crossing, they actually help to kind of like gather stuff. So, like for example, we put the tarp on the back there. That'll help kind of grab it and keep it. So, just going to start taking these and getting our back along the structure top, and then we'll see what we got. I might have enough, I'm not really sure, so you kind of got to do it as you go. So let's get to it. Alright, so got most of the back all set up. Could use a few more sticks, but I'm gonna work on the sides here with the remaining stuff that I have. I'll probably throw a couple more sticks into the back as well. But it's starting to look like something. It always looks funky at first, but then once you start really getting into it, once you put a backing on it and all of that, it starts to come to, starts actually looking like a shovel. One thing I just noticed, I got a little cypress bush in there, and because I can't pull it out, looks like it's going to be in there. So, hey, built-in air freshener. Alright, don't mind me. I had to take a little lunch break. I had to eat my orange. So where we left off was the backing. Probably could have, and I probably will, put a couple more sticks facing downwards like this. And then one good thing that's also good to do to kind of reimburse I should say, the backing is by like intertwining. So if you take a finger, put a stick, and then take a finger, and then you kind of go like that, it just kind of holds it all in. So let's get to it. Alright, so started intertwining the backing. I'm probably going to grab a couple more branches. Now, long-term use, this wouldn't be ideal. Reason being is because I'm using only dead wood, or wood that has fallen, which is dead. Long-term use, you would want live trees, but because of the circumstances in the challenge, that's out of the question. But I'm going to go and gather a couple more branches and then start working on the sides a bit, and then we'll get that the tarp backing up that we found and continue on. Well, it's definitely coming along. Okay, so we got our logs. Oh, there's one right here. Got our material. Start building in the front on the sides a little bit. I'm actually going to leave this open a little bit bigger than I was thinking, because tonight's supposed to get cold, and what I didn't tell you is what I build today is what I sleep in tonight. So I'm going to build some up on the sides a bit, and then I'll start getting, I was actually thinking while I was gathering, you're always thinking even while you're doing, I'm going to take that garbage bag. I'm not going to use it for anything that has to do with rain or anything like that. I'm not going to give my buddy the benefit of the doubt, knowing that I needed it tremendously. But I'm actually going to go around and grab a bunch of pine needles, put them in the garbage bag, and then I'll start using them for insulation on the back. Up here tonight, probably get about 21 degrees. Not really worried about rain. Like I said before, if anything, it'll be snow. So once I get that all set up, then I'll probably start working on my fireplace somewhere here in the front, and then go from there. So I'm just gonna put this off to the side, grab a quick drink, and then we'll get right back to it. Okay, we got our insulation. So what I thought, I'm actually going to start putting the bigger stuff on the back, and then the leaves and the pine needles, and then I'm going to wrap that around. Try to give me a little bit of insulation, a little bit of warmth, and a little bit of cover for water. Well, snow. Alright, let's do it. Is that enough? No. Just gonna go gather some more and I'll save you guys the time. You get the idea. Be right back. Alright, so we're back with the second bundle to put on there. Fill it out a lot more. It took me about half hour to hand collect all these, so just goes to show, that tells you how long it takes and how much time I saved you. I got my hat somewhere. I started overheating in the process. Let's get to it. I do have my hat. So, definitely better. So what I'll do now is take the garbage bag over there and go along and get some pine needles. I'm actually going to gather some for my bedding. A lot of people think, you know, you can use that for your bedding. Yeah, you can, but it's itchy as hell. It's basically hay. So I'd rather use the pine needles. All right, let's go collect some pine needles. But pine needles are a lot easier to gather than that hay is. So. What I wouldn't do for a rake right about now, though. Let's see if I can't find a little denser area. Seems like a little denser area. I mean, the snow has melted a few days back, but kind of want to get what's on top. Definitely a lot drier from the air. Not as wet. Not really sure on how many bags it'll take. More than one, that's for sure. Alright, we'll go dump this and spread it out. Maybe I'll cut to the chase so that way you guys don't have to watch me do this 5 or 6 times. That's about how long it'll take. Alright. You kind of want to sprinkle so that way they'll grab in between everything. You don't really want to just throw them on there. Alright, so I'll go get another bag or 2 or 3 or probably 4. And what I'll do is I'll put you guys on the opposite side so you can see me working from that way as well. I would go chase one of 9 of these cameras, but the little behind the scenes thing is these cameras are probably spaced out a half mile, some are even a mile from where I am right now, trying to cover all angles. So that's why if you ever start a YouTube channel, not that I don't, but definitely appreciate your cameraman. So, all right, so we're on bag number 2. Another little trick about sprinkling on is a lot of people say, why don't you just throw like piles and piles? As far as insulation, that's better. But you still want insulation to breathe. Obviously, we're dealing with wet material. So I want the insulation to do its job, but I also need it to breathe because you got to remember that we're going to be covering it in plastic. So that's why I like to sprinkle it on, because it just spreads better and it may not keep you as warm, but it's longer lasting. The great thing is we have that plastic we found earlier. Alright, so we got that. I'll go around the front, grab the plastic, and we'll get wrapping. Alright, so I got the plastic along with everything else on the floor. The hard part is, well, not really a hard part, is using this to the best of its ability. It would almost be better, and that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to measure the length roughly, and then with my pocket knife Vine's trying to kill me. With my pocket knife, cut the measurements. This stuff is pretty gnarly. Definitely not fond of cutting. Well, I like to say I hope you guys enjoying the video. Like I said, this is basically personal between me and my buddy. I call him my brother. We're brothers from different mothers, but I put him through hell from time to time, depending upon what we're recording for videos. So this is his little way of getting back at me, which is fine. I enjoy the challenge, and I haven't done a video like this before. I've done this a lot, but never have I done a video of it. So there is that. I'm actually going to wrap it around our structure tree for now, just to get it to hold while I disperse it evenly. And then after, I can always tuck it up by doing so. That's another reason why I like to leave sticks up. Because what it does is it pretty much acts as another person. So a little shy on that end, but that's okay. We have plenty here. That's why I wanted to utilize it to the best of its ability. So that way I'm not wasting. Person. Gets a little tricky. So what you could do is grab a stick and then use the stick. Now I can't just break one off, that'd be too easy. So fortunately, everything that I'm doing is a lot harder than it should be. Still got this good piece here, so that's good news, because then I can overlap it if I have enough. I think this is the one I might cut. Nope, it is not. Okay. Rough measure. About here. Cut away from you when you start getting close. you want to do when you start layering this, and I should tell you that, is you want to put it underneath. So that way, now this has holes, so if it snows a lot, you know, it is what it is. But as far as efficiency, you always want your bottom tucked underneath so when the rain comes down, it just keeps going down. Same with the top one. Gotta grab another stick and use that. Man, this stuff is pretty serious. And again, I'm gonna fix this all afterwards to just give everyone the idea. And then of course after you can lay logs and everything like that, which that's what I would do. Helps just kind of keep everything in there and still. And then this piece, I'm actually going to say from the top, or I should say the top front. So I'll get this moved around and I'll get the camera on the back end, well I should say the front end, and then we'll get a better view from there. Alright, so we'll do some with the front. I'll put a little bit of side on. Like I said before, I don't want a lot of frontage. I like to see big cat, bear, which should be hibernating, but because we had a little warm spurt, he comes out bumbling around. I want to be able to see. I don't want to be a cat in a cat box, so I'm just going to put some very shallow sides on, keep most of it open. The wind is coming from west to east, so I'm good on the back end. Now if the wind comes from east to west, well, that's another story. But, so what I'll do is some of the logs that we have left here, I'll start putting the sides on. Very basic sides. I don't really like sides, but for the sake of the video, I'll do some sides. Because I'll tell you what, if you've ever been in a situation and you got big sides with a small opening, enough for you to skivvy into, and there's something in the middle of the night prowling around on your camp, and you can't see unless you have to literally stick your head out, that's not cool. I've had it happen before, so I've learned. That's really all I'm going to do for sides. I'm actually going to save the rest of the logs for the back. So, but let's get this up. The tricky part is trying to tuck in to the tree there. You almost got to put it like this first. And pull it up through. And once you start getting it in, you can tighten it and button it down. And that's why I like to leave the logs hanging over, because you can use them as a counterweight. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to save two sticks for like a stake pole. And I'll show you what I mean. If you take it, now you got to get it down to the right size. You put it into the back. It gives you like an awning, you know. So that's what I prefer to do than have big old bulky sides, because I'm not really with all that. And if I wasn't going to be staying in this tonight, I would, you know, put the sides in and all that, but that's not going to happen. And you can also do that a couple layers if you want to have a good, you know, a good awning. I'm actually going to put two on top of one another. Little pieces left. You know what we could do is the A-frame. Be a good idea to take some of this, and instead of laying it horizontally, we'll lay it vertical, kind of like capping on a roof. The hard part is when you get the sticks like that, it's not that easy. I'm actually going to have to cut this. I don't know what they make this shit out of, but Jesus. Like a razor blade. What you wouldn't do for a pair of scissors. And unfortunately my knife has teeth, so all it wants to do is grab it. Okay, so we got our little piece here. And just to give you an idea, when I say lay it vertical, is take it, and you figure you got where the two A's meet, and you basically just go like this, like you've seen me do before, lay it on top, and it'll act as a little bit of insulation and water resistance. Nothing is waterproof. People say all the time, oh yeah, my shoes are waterproof, my bag's waterproof, my raincoat's waterproof. It's water resistant. There's barely anything in this world that's waterproof. Grows up above agreed. So that don't look the greatest because of the way I got the sticks and all. But I figure I'll do it anyways because I have some leftovers. How am I doing? Definitely the wrong kind of knife. You don't want teeth. This piece here, I'll probably just slide along the top. A couple little holes up top, but you can always go through after and pull everything up, tighten it up. Problem is I got 4 zip ties. I got no rope, no cordage, no nothing. So I'm just trying to do what I got with what I got. I'm gonna go into the back and tighten that up. I'm gonna tighten everything up a little bit and I'll get an overview and show you guys what we got going. Alright, so I thought I would show out, like I mentioned before, about leaning logs up against the back. It's nothing special, nothing pretty. You just simply lay them on there. First you want to make sure you ain't got any holes. Lay them right. That one's not a good one for that. Sometimes if you can get an arch in a tree, you can actually use it as like a hanger. And obviously you'd get more logs in this. I just wanted to give everyone an idea of you know, putting the logs on. Keep everything on there as much as you can. We'll go back into the front and then do whatever little bit we got there, and that'll be that. Little final touches on there. Just going to try to put my awning up a little bit more. The hole in the top there, I was actually going to see if I could break those off, but I'm actually going to leave that on there. So if the wind does start to go from east to west, I won't get smoked out. That's another reason why I don't like sides, you know. So just going to do a little bit of awning work, and that'll be that. I wish I had a hatchet or something. But this goes to show what you can do with what you got, even if you have nothing. I definitely like that. I think I'll even put my head towards the cypress tree so I can smell it all night. I'll get my fire here. I have no idea where I'm going to gather rocks from. But yeah. So that is the Bushcraft Challenge. And again, is it the prettiest? No. No. Not by any means necessary. But it's what it was all about. So, just goes to show, long story short, even if you have nothing except for and I still haven't even used the fish tank hose, the 4 zip ties. I didn't need the nails, and I definitely don't need the screwdriver. So there you go, John. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hope you found it entertaining. It was definitely rough, not being able to cut down a branch, not having an axe, not having a hatchet, not having rope, not having anything but the little bit of bullshit that I had. The biggest thing I realized when I was doing this, and I was saving it for the end, is the fact of the supplies that are around you. I mean, there's wood everywhere, but a lot of it's rotted. Like I said, we're in winter here, and a lot of it's rotted. Most bush crafts that I've made, you know, you come out with a chainsaw or at least an axe or a hatchet. You know, you can cut down fresh wood. Just using whatever that's on the ground and only being able to use that was definitely the hardest part. And I enjoy a challenge because it allows you to push yourself to your limits, and you'll actually know what you're capable of. So sometimes the easy road, it may be easier, but in the long run, if you've never had a rough road and you were in this predicament, you wouldn't know your ass from your elbow, and that's just reality. So that's what I enjoyed about it. So I actually, I'm gonna go fishing. I'm gonna go catch some dinner, and maybe down. It's 4-mile walk, and I'll take my backpack. I'll gather some stones here to make a fireplace, and then I'll also grab a couple heat rocks, warm them up by the fire, stick them under your core, keep your core temperature warm. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and as always, see you in the next one.